It feels like day 32 of the 31-Day Safer Pilot Challenge. This is a bonus director's cut of the impossible turn. MzeroA Nation, Jason Schappert here. How are you all doing? Who misses the 31-Day Safer Pilot Challenge? Well, I wanted to bring you one more just bit from that series. I posed the question last week, what was your favorite video, your greatest takeaway, the one that you learned the most from on the 31-Day Safer Pilot Challenge? And it really came down to two. The second place, the runner-up, was where Gavin famously said about fire and blood. But I didn't want to leave you hanging. There is, at the very end of this video, an exclusive interview with Gavin at the very end of this video. It'll be worth your time, I promise. It's super fun. But today we're going to talk about the impossible turn. And I want to share with you what I wasn't able to share with you in that really day one and day two video of this year's 31-Day Safer Pilot Challenge. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, well, I encourage you to go back, watch all our videos in January for this year's 31-Day Safer Pilot Challenge. By the way, it's 2023. This is the year of 23 Mike Zulu, so we're continuing to give away amazing content and gifts. And this month of February, ground school members, remember, you're getting all our check ride books as an ebook just to you all. So if you're a paying online ground school member, before the end of the month, it's coming up, make sure you hop in there and download those before February 2023 is out. If you're not a member, you can sign up as well. Let's talk about this impossible turn. Now, I shared it a few different ways. In our day two video, I shared about how let's just build our runway. By the way, art is really not my thing. Let's just for the sake of naming these runways, let's name them 36, 18. And what we're simulating here is, we took off, our engine quits somewhere out here, and people attempt this impossible turn. They think it's just a 180, but a 180, as we've shared, really just puts you on a downwind. It's really more like a 230, and then another turn to get you back lined up with the runway. And that's where so many people hurt themselves as it relates to this impossible turn. Now let me show you what we're gonna do when we head to the airplane here today. We're gonna go back to Marco Island where everything started for us. I'm gonna draw the runway a little smaller this time so you can see it. And we're gonna take off. I teach no turns back to the runway below 1,000 feet. I like to teach you kind of have this window out here that you can aim for and really go for with that, below 1,000 feet. But let's say this, and this is our scenario here today. We take off, life is good. We get to 300 feet from our traffic pattern altitude, we turn crosswind. At the hinge of crosswind to downwind right here, we reach 1,000 feet, where we turn our downwind roughly, right? What if our engine quits here? I'm at 1,000 feet. I have a single piece of pavement though, a single runway. The circumstances change with the crossing runway. We'll talk about that. How would you do this? Single runway, your engine quits here. Would you continue your downwind and make a turn back in? You're not gonna make a full downwind turn. So do you do this and make a turn back in? Or do you make a big right turn to come back in this way, but now you're risking landing with a tailwind as well? Well, I'm gonna show you both in today's video. Now, what I'm going to show you, and you'll hear me express this in the video here, I do not want you practicing this by yourself. If you're gonna do this, you need to do it with another instructor. Really, an ideal scenario is I have a crossing runway and my engine quits here and I land the crossing runway. That's the preferred situation here. But in our given circumstance today, I'm gonna show you both. And let me be honest with you, as you'll see in the video, neither are great options. They both work. But they worked because of this, keep in mind. It's just Jason on board with half tanks, and this was filmed in the winter time, so density altitude was like 1,500 feet. I don't know how well this would work. Jason, well, I do know. Jason, maximum gross weight, full fuel in August in Florida. Neither of these probably would have worked. This one to the left, especially with that. I will let you be the judge of this. I can't wait to read your comments on this again. What I'm about to show you is very unconventional, let's say, but aren't most emergencies very unconventional, to things that are beyond the ACS, beyond what we train for, that I want to just get you thinking about. So I apologize for talking so much here. Let's cut to the video, and then we'll get to the special interview with Gavin at the end. And I can't wait to read your comments about this as well. All right, MZEROA Nation, I think we found a quiet period at the Marco Island Airport. Marco Island traffic, Skyhawk 23, Mike Zulu's departing runway 17, simulated engine failure, Marco. Density altitude today is about 1,500 feet. On 17 outside, looks good, heels hit the floor, toes on pedal, mixture's rich, everything's set. Engine gauges all still green, 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 airspeed's alive, here we go. So what I'm going to do is we're going to rotate. We took off in about 500 feet. That tells you how much the wind's helping. I mean, the wind is right down 17, it feels like. We're going to climb out. Now, I always teach, as I told you in the studio just a second ago, no turns back to the runway below 1,000 feet. So let's fly along. Let's get to the crosswind. Let's get to the crosswind, downwind hinge, and then let's work and let's simulate making a turn back on in. So we're just climbing on out. Life is all good. Everything's set. Beautiful, beautiful day. Hardly any clouds in the sky. We're flying our runway right on out. I'll get to my 700 feet. AGL and MSL, as you can tell, are about the same here. So there's 700 feet. I'm going to turn my crosswind. And Marco on traffic, Skyhawk 23, Mike Zulu's turn left crosswind 17. This will be a simulated engine failure, Marco. 800 feet. 900 feet. I'm on my crosswind. Here comes my 1,000 feet. I'm going to go carpet on just to be easy on my airplane here. Let's give the, hey, what just happened factor? 1, 2, 3, and let's start turning back towards Marco on traffic, Skyhawk 23, Mike Zulu, simulate engine failure, landing 17, Marco. I get my best glide speed in here, and I'm going to do, there's no way I can make that aggressive angle back in there, especially with what the winds are doing today. I think my only option is to fly this like a downwind, but I am not liking how this is turning out. Now, like I shared in the studio, if I had an intersecting runway, I would take that all day. You could just make a nice turn onto that. But I don't know. I mean, if this was real, I'm at 700 feet right now. I would probably have to shorten this thing up, cut it in, and risk overrunning it. And Marco on traffic, Skyhawk 23, Mike Zulu's turn left base 17, simulate engine failure, Marco. I mean, as you can see this angle here, I don't want to go blazing over the FBO. Do you see how I could make this turn all the way back around? Let me just do this for you real quick here. Here's how I would do it if this was a real emergency. I'm still, now, but look now and turn into that wind. I'm turning into that wind. Marco Island, Skyhawk 23, Mike Zulu's base to final, 17, full stop, Marco. Look how that wind is working it here. And I'm leaving so much good runway behind me. Look, I'm leaving 1,000 feet of good runway behind me. I'm coming in at the 1,000 foot marks. Coming in this way, and this only works because there's so much wind going on today. I'm ready to go around just in case I end up floating too much. I had no flaps in. Now I'm adding some flaps in here. And I'm going to bring this thing down. My wheels don't touch by the 1,000 foot marks on the other side. I'm going around just so we're all on the same page. Here it comes. And we're back down on the ground. Wow, that got my heart rate up a little bit on that one. It worked. I'm like at a loss for words. Give me 1 second. Marco on traffic, tech to Mike Zulu's right turn Delta, clear 17, Marco. It worked. It's not ideal by any means. I mean, in a perfect world, let's just talk in taxi here, then we'll do another one. In a perfect world, I would have had an intersecting runway to come back on. Then it becomes a crosswind.
But you saw how that wind, the wind really helped us a lot. And if you're wondering what I mean, we're going into quite a bit of wind, 14, 15 knots. So going into 14, 15 knots kept me closer to the runway environment. I was just like going up an escalator kind of thing, right? Just riding that wind on up. That really helped me to stay closer, to climb and not cover a lot of distance across the ground. Then on downwind, it really, really pushed me. And the moment I turned back in that wind, it worked like a stop. It kept me flying and it stopped. Never did I overbank or get a little bit crazy there. That was not an ideal situation to be in, honestly. Now, I thought that was going to work out way better. This next one, I am pretty confident is not going to work out as planned. But I don't want to say never on that one. So the next one, we'll take off. We'll get to the same crosswind position. I'm going to make a big right turn and land with a tailwind. And let's see how that works out. This is, of course, assuming we haven't heard a soul yet at Marco Island. I could not be doing this if there was anyone even remotely close to the traffic pattern. So fingers crossed that it stays that way. If it does not, we're going to have to sit and wait, or we may not be able to film that, especially this one, because we're going against the traffic flow here. And I just want to stipulate here, for some of you saying, is what we're doing legal, or is that in accordance with Part 91? Yeah. We're at a pilot control airport. We're simulating a emergency approach here, and the only thing it says we have to. Oh, here comes the Cirrus. Abide by any local rules and regulations. I'm going to pull over to like a run-up area and let the Cirrus go first. He didn't make a call coming out. What I was saying, though, is abide to any local traffic pattern, right? There is left traffic. Here we are simulating an emergency, though, here as well. So let's see how this will work out. I'm going to pull over here, let the Cirrus go. They don't have an ideal little run-up area, or they do, but there's just so many planes here. I'm going to tuck it over here. We're going to wait for just a second. Nope, that Cirrus is sitting over there. All right, I'm going to give it a try here. Marco Island traffic, Skyhawk 23 Mike, Zulu's departing runway 17. This is going to be a simulated engine failure. We're going to come back and land 35 for a full stop at Marco. Osprey flying over into the wind there. Oh, watch him on final, that's a big boy. All right, Cirrus is still sitting there doing his run-up. He hadn't said a word. We didn't need to do another run-up because we just kept it running like a stop and go. Airspeed's alive. Engine gauges confirm all still green. And I'm going to make a few more radio calls than I normally would here, just so everybody's on page. Marco Island traffic, Skyhawk 23 Mike Zulu's on the departure leg, runway 17. We're going to have a simulated engine failure here in just a second and circle back for a landing 35 at Marco Island. That was a little bit wordy, but it conveyed the message here. We're going to fly this right on out. Now we have to be really, really just trigger happy to go around here because we are going to float. Landing with anybody ever landed with a tailwind? It is very, very challenging here. I'm not feeling as warm and fuzzy about that one, especially after that one. That did not feel natural or good to do. But these are the skill sets, things we need to work on. And if you ever get the opportunity to land at a, maybe say a perpendicular runway from 1,000 feet, great thing to practice. All right, here comes my 700 feet. And Marco Island traffic, Skyhawk 23 Mike Zulu's on the left crosswind for 17. We're about to do a simulated engine failure and circle back for a tailwind landing on 35, Marco. All right, we're climbing on out.
In Syrian, Cardinal 177 Whiskey Bravo, inbound to the RNAV 01, to go circle to the 14 in Syrian.
Houston Sebring, engine failure. What just happened? Okay, best glide, let's start heading that way. And Marco Island traffic, Skyhawk 23 Mike Zulu is a simulated engine failure. We're circling back for a landing on 3-5 at Marco. That wind is not doing me many favors right now. I'm not going to crank it around and get crazy here. Just baby it on around. And I know I've got a tailwind. I'm going to go not quite direct to the numbers, as crazy as that sounds here. I will wait on that. But think about how the wind's pushing me right now. I know I'm going to float. And Marco Island traffic, Skyhawk 23 Mike Zulu is a simulated engine failure. We're a right base to final for 3-5, full stop, Marco. You're going to think I'm crazy. I'm going to give it 10 degrees of flaps out here. This is where it's going to get tricky. We're going to need to do some slip to land action to get this girl on down. And Marco Island traffic, Skyhawk 23 Mike Zulu's final 3-5, full stop, Marco. We are hauling booty. Let's see, if I'm not down by that taxiway, I'm going around here. Wheels on the ground here. Going 84 across the numbers sure doesn't help. Come on, girl. Not that taxiway, the next one is the one I was talking about. Charlie. We might just do it. Let's see. Come on, just letting her. We're down. My nose wheel didn't like going that fast though, hitting the ground, did it? And just back on that yoke. Really, really hard to slow down here. Wow, that got my blood pressure up even more. Well, MZEROA Nation, you asked for it. You wanted to see the impossible turn again a few different ways. You got to see it. Nothing. The one thing I'd like you to practice out of everything that we just learned, make a radio call here. Marco on traffic side, 2 Mike Zulu's taxiing clear of 17 Marco. The only thing I'd like you to practice and ponder is if you have like some 90-degree perpendicular runways, to practice, get to 1,000 feet, the engine quits, can you make it to one of the perpendicular intersecting runways? I think it's a valuable thing to practice. What we have here, please don't just say, well, it worked for Jason, so it'll work for me. You know what? I have half tanks on board. It's just me. Dense altitude is 1,500 feet.
Island traffic, Silver Blue Cirrus, November 8905, Juliet, entering taxiway Alpha to taxi to runway 17, Marco Island traffic.
On top of all that, it's a 14, 15 knot wind that's really helping us out with all this. So you just need to be mindful of that. There's a lot of perfect things to make this thing happen. And let me tell you, I was a little bit nervous on both those landings. I was about ready to go around on both of them. And they just worked out. Now, obviously, if it's an emergency, you do what you got to do. But for the sake of making a video, I was about ready to go around in both those situations there. So just keep that in mind. Really excited to read your comments on this one. And just, what is your big takeaway from seeing this? That was what I'm mostly curious about as well. Hey, we have a great new series coming up here soon. Hey, don't forget, if you are an online ground school member, bronze, silver, or gold, this month, February only, you can download a ebook, a PDF of pass your private pilot check ride, pass your instrument pilot check ride, pass your commercial pilot check ride. That's all included in your membership as well. You can't just be on a trial. If you're on a trial, you can sign up, become a paying member. Paying members, that is my gift to you. Because, well, it's the year 2023, the year of 23 Mike Zulu. Have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your day, and most importantly, remember, good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody. See you. Hey, Gavin, in your last video, you mentioned it's only an emergency if it's fire or blood. Can you elaborate a little more on that? Everyone was asking, what might cause fire or blood in the airplane?
If there's lightning and it explodes the plane.
If lightning hits the airplane and the airplane explodes, yeah, that definitely. That's an emergency. It would cause some fire. What about the blood part? You mentioned fire or blood.
If I drop my toy spaceship on me.
Oh, yeah, like if you drop your toy spaceship, you could get a boo-boo and that would bleed?
Yes.
Yeah, that's possible. Are you a really, really good pilot?
Yes, I'm flying right now.
Oh, you are flying right now.
Yeah, 2343.
Wow, you're pretty talented.
27.2, good day.
Why don't you say bye to everybody?
Bye-bye.